Hey YouTube, this is the Art of Prepping. Today we're going to go over water collection, storage, and filtration, an outline for new preppers. So when we talk about water, this is going to be a critical type of preparation, something that you can't exactly just forget about or say, oh, I'll get to that later. It's one of your top priorities. And this thing, it's right next to shelter. You got fire and water. Those are your real tops. And so we have sources for collecting water. Let's start with that one. That's going to be obviously like things like rain, ice, snow, reservoirs, and tributaries. And those could include things like ponds and lakes, streams, and rivers. We have wells. If you have the ability to dig a well, have one put in, or if you already have one, the underwater water table there, underground water table can be a source. Those are the ones anyways that are feeding these large ponds and lakes. So anyways, we have those, and the means to collect those from those sources. If you don't have, the reservoirs or tributaries or wells, how can you capture, mainly the rainwater is what you're going to have to be looking at primarily at this point. In the meantime, before you make other options available to yourself. So roof and gutter collection systems, tarps that can be made into collection systems, artificial ponds and depressions. Certain plants hold water, like there are certain types of bamboo. Tree trunks, stumps, ditches, and storm runoff could be an emergency source of water. You could also make solar stills, and there's all kinds of other contraptions and different skills that can break down plant matter and so forth to get the water out. Storage. Water storage can be done in lots of various levels and in manners, depending on how much you want and how easy access you want to it. We don't condone, the prepper community in general doesn't condone the plastic bottle deals. I personally don't think that they're great. They're full of BPA, all kinds of taste problems. After 3 to 6 months, they taste horrible because of all the plastic crap leaching through in the water, and it's just not a good deal at all. So the better option is simply to buy some 5, 6, or 7 gallon aquatainer types of jugs or water containers, or if there's other brands too, just BPA free water jugs, and a gallon size that you can handle, because water's about 8 pounds per gallon. So maybe a 7 gallon could be too much and too heavy for you. So if that's the case, then maybe buy a 5 gallon. But an aquatainer is another option. To get solid colors, you don't want things that you can see through, or transparent or clear containers. You want to keep the light out. And you could just fill it up with tap water, since it's already treated. And you could just keep that in there and rotate it every year or two. Just rotate it out so it's fresh. It's not exactly that water goes bad per se. It just gets flat, and it gets the oxygen kind of gets removed from the main body of the water. So you can just simply replace the water over time, or shake the bottle, shake the container to help to re-oxidize it. We have buckets you can store it in. Buckets could be a 5 gallon buckets, 3 gallon buckets, 2 gallon buckets. You could put lids on. They do have handles so you can move them about. They would be cheaper than the water jugs, but a lot of those may not be food grade. A lot of them are BPA free, so you can just look at that. Some people just like to have the different shape and contour of an actual water jug there versus a bucket. Barrels, they come in all kinds of sizes, like 20, 30 some gallon ones. The most common though is going to be your 55 gallon drums in type barrels, and you can put those in your garage or shed, or you can even disguise them in your home. Some people get some of the smaller ones and make tables, and they put cloths over them and all kinds of things, and they're like hidden right in front of you. And of course, the big one that we all think about, you know, for super long term and for helping to collect rainwater besides the barrels would be a cistern. You can get small cisterns, 250-gallon cisterns. You can get 2,000-gallon cisterns, or even much larger. It depends on those. And those can be, you know, found in various materials, various polymers, concrete, reinforced concrete structures that are permanent, that are in the ground or above the ground. There's lots of different ways for that. Alternative emergency water storage could include covered pools, hot tubs, saunas, and bathtubs. But just remember, on a lot of these, you're going to really want a hand pump and a hose system. And you want to try to keep the water sources as cool as possible, dark as possible, and obviously as clean as possible when you store it. Last thing we're going to talk about is filtration. Filtration, you know, is a tricky subject here. There's a lot of chemicals you could use, things like iodine and so forth. But for me personally, I avoid bleach. Any type of chlorine at all, it's not good for you. Yes, you could, after you so-called sterilize your water with it, you could put it out in the sun and let the bleach evaporate out of your water source, so you're not going to be drinking it, because it's definitely not healthy to consume chlorine. But with that being said, though, I'd rather just go ahead and get a quality water filter system. For in the home, you know, like a Berkey water filter system. It's a gravity-fed water filter system. Is going to be the way to go. And there's lots of other brands, but the Berkey pretty much is the most premium, especially when we're talking about filter systems and longevity. It's like 3,000 gallons per filter, you know, and typically they have a minimum of around 2 filters per. For just the basic filtration, you can get add-ons to get rid of all the arsenic and fluoride, and so that's definitely an option. Highly recommended. They're made out of stainless steel. Okay, and for the smaller things here, we have hand pump filters, which are going to be like Catadine, and there's a lot of others. These are excellent for when you're out and about and you need to process more water, you know, and clean the water outside of the home. We also have for backpacks as well. If it's just on an individual level and you're not trying to go with a larger volume of water like with a pump, you can go with like a Life Straw, or this is a Berkey Sport water filter container that has a very large filter system inside there. And then you can also use you know, canteens to fill up from your water pump. You can also go ahead and use your cookware to boil water if you had to, and then let it cool and put it in your canteens. Obviously, canteens made out of stainless steel are going to be your best overall canteen. There's a lot of different aluminum canteens that could be dangerous. Sometimes the aluminum can leak in. Not highly recommended, but isn't the worst thing in the world. These military grade plastic polymer type canteens are okay if you have a source to boil it outside of the canteen. Some of the brands that I would have used and recommend would be like the Catadine right there, the Life Straw, and you know, the Sawyer. I haven't tried them personally, but the Sawyer water filter systems look like, and they have excellent feedback. Those are just some ideas. If you have any other ideas about water filtration and collection and storage, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching The Art of Prepping, and have a good day.